Big. Just Dylan here. Yeah, Dylan here with another Toolbox Talk. Toolbox Talk number 5. I probably would have done it sooner, but I dropped my laptop off this very table. So, I've got a few more topics for you guys this week that I've been researching on the internet, trying to get down to what's going on out there, you know? So, I've got 3 things. One is a documentary. Now, this documentary I first found out about from good old Louis Theroux. Louis was on the Joe Rogan podcast a long time ago, but he said that this was his very favorite documentary. So I was like, oh, if Louis Theroux says that's like pinnacle documentary, you're like, oh, better check that out. That guy's like, he's the master of documentaries. So I had a look, and it's also on YouTube, so it's pretty easy to watch this one. It's called Knuckle. Okay, and it's a documentary about Irish, English, all that kind of area, gypsy, traveling, bare knuckle boxing families. So the way the documentary came about was one of these families needed their wedding filmed. So they hired this photographer guy to just capture the wedding. And it's like, it's also someone either marrying their cousin or something like that. So, yeah, but they just wanted the wedding filmed. But then old camera guy gets a bit of wind about all this fighting business, and he just he wanted to come along and film it. He just wanted to see what was going on. Yeah, it's pretty much what you think it is. It's bloody two dudes down a Irish like farm, like back road situation, and they're just punching the shit out of each other. Just bloody swinging, and yeah, it's these gypsy Irish traveling families, and turns out they're all cousins. So they're all just fighting their cousins down the back road of old Ireland. And yeah, like everyone in this documentary is speaking English, but the whole documentary is in subtitles. And I'm like, it's just, they have that, it's like the Irish, it's like the bouncy Irish, you know, like, so like the movie Snatch, Brad Pitt's character, he's kind of based off these traveler, bare knuckle boxing gypsy families. Yeah, so what do we got? So the main family it follows are the Quinn McDuns. And their best fighter, their unbeaten fighter, is James Quinn McDunn. And it's the Quinn McDunns versus the Joyces versus the Nevins. And they're all cousins, which is pretty funny that they just smack on. But yeah, it's like you've got to represent your name, and you've got to represent your clan, and you've got to get in there and play. And these guys are punching on for ages. These guys are punching on for like half an hour. Some of the shitter fights are like boom bam, it's over, but then just the just the time is just it's like the marathon of punching on. But good old James Quinn McDunn, he's unbeaten. He's pretty good at it. So it kind of follows him through the 90s in a few of these bare knuckle boxing exchanges with the other gypsy families. So there was some kind of there was a fight or something where someone got killed, and then it's kicked off this whole bare knuckle boxing thing. But it's also like they also gamble on it, so they also make bets on each other, or they make bets for the fight. Like one family will raise 20,000 pounds, or I think it was, for one of the fights, and the whole family pulls all their money together and bets on their fighter, and hopefully they win, and then they get all the money for Christmas. That's what he said in one of the bits. Yeah. So there's James Quinn McDunn, then there's his brother. And his brother has a fight with a guy. I think it was his first fight, and you kind of got to live up to the name of his brother, because his brother's the best fighter. And he fights his first cousin, who's a Nevin, I can't remember, and bites him. And if you bite him in the fight, disqualified. So that's kind of, there's an arc there, there's a redemption arc thing going on there. And then 10 years later, they do a rematch. Because old Jamesy boy, he's just been pumping him out. But they do a rematch with the younger brother, James, versus his first cousin guy. But this time he's he's bulked up a little. So I don't know if he's juicing or what's going on. He's a lot leaner in the start of the film, and then he thickens up. Could just be training, but there's a lot of money on the line. And he goes to fight that same fella, his cousin, and it turns out to be this 40-minute battle on this super hot day. The other guy's like, this guy's fit and that, but he's a bit shorter than his opponent. Opponent's a pretty big fella. I think he drops him, but yeah, there was just a bit of an arc there. But James, and he has another 10-year later battle. So some guy fought his dad in the bare knuckle, sorted him out, or beat him up at a wedding or something. And then 10 years later, his son fights James. And it's a good one. It's a good one. Just the time these fights go for is crazy. It's like 2 hours sometimes. And it's all in the 90s, so everyone's like on the phone to each other, telling each other how it went and stuff like that. And there's this one good bit where James he's trying to amp up his brother. He's kind of trying to get him ready for this fight, but he's not at the fight. So he's just on the phone, just asking how the fight's going, and he's just like, all the past Quinn McDunns, or Jesus, can you just send him all the power to win, because he just wanted his brother to win, kind of thing. But it was just very sweet, and when he was fighting, it was kind of he seemed all right about it, but just when it was his brother, he was very emotional, and he just wanted his brother to win, which was yeah. But good watch. That's what I'm saying. Just a good watch. They're interesting people. They're speaking English, but you can't understand it the whole time. But the one kind of character from the movie, James is definitely he's rocking it. But the counterpart, the representative of the Joyces, is Big Joe Joyce. because big old Joe Joyce, he's this big fella. He's got the mutton chops. He's got this hair. His face is interesting. He's just pumping the smokes. It's kind of like a swollen thing going on. It's also like scarred up because he was a crazy fighter back in the day. But this guy's like, I don't know actually how old he is, but he's looking old. Like maybe like 60, 50 something, but he's looking old. But he's got the best things. See, they started cutting promos, like WWE wrestling promos on VHSs and sending them to each other to kind of instigate fighting between them, instigate fights and stuff like that. But these Irish traveler family call out videos that you find them on YouTube. Eventually they got to YouTube, but they're sending VHSs back in the day to each other, and then it goes to DVDs at one point, but now they just chuck it on the YouTube. And yeah, even this big Joe Joyce guy gets in and has a fight with this other old guy in a forest. The fights aren't they're what you imagine they would be. It's like two dudes fighting in a alleyway situation. Like it's got its moments, but just a slap. It's like a very slappy hit, and it doesn't look like. It's just not very glamorous, you know. But the fella's getting about it. It's not jazzed up. It's just what it is. Just people fighting, and other people want to watch it. But there's money on the line and stuff like that. But they all gather around and watch these things, or they go back to their families and kind of celebrate this occasion. And yeah, that's some of the funniest scenes in the film is just like how many of these Irish gypsy traveler people can they fit into a caravan. They're just like, they're stacked up. Like, especially when they're going back with they've got like a tiny TV, like an old early 90s tiny box, and it's like, it's like 50 people in a caravan watching like a tiny screen. And it's just, it's like an older time. And then, yeah, exactly, like that movie Snatch really kind of did a good portrayal of these kind of characters, and just the way like all the kids just like mobbing up to your car, and there's like 20 of them asking you all kinds of questions, and then yeah, it's an interesting documentary, and they're just really, yeah, kind of a unique way of life going on there. Yeah, well, even so there's a video I found going through all this where good old Tyson Fury, I brought him up before, but he's the Gypsy King. He's the king of these people. So you can kind of see, and you can see like it's a hard thing, and these guys going out there and fighting in the field, and some win, some of them lose, but it's like it's a hard kind of thing they've imposed on each other. It's a bit, well, they represent their families or whatever, but like fighting your cousins in a field is like, we could probably do some better things, but yeah, that's how some families are. So Joe Joyce received a glove from Tyson Fury, and he was hyping up the Gypsy King, as well as James McQuinn was talking about him in this podcast. But it was like James English talks to James McQuinn. And all this stuff, these families, it's still going on today. Good old Joey Joyce Jr. I'm not sure if it's his son or his son's son, But as of, I think it was 2020, Joe Joyce Jr. jailed for murder. It was like someone looked like someone was attacking people filming it, and he like slashed a dude's leg or something, and now he's in jail. But I'm just saying, these feuds from this documentary are still going on to this day. And the Gypsy Traveler videos are pretty funny too. They just talk so quick. And like, English has many different kinds, but that one's maybe one of the hardest Englishes to if you're not from it or you haven't heard it your whole life. It's a very hard one to decipher. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's on YouTube. Louis Theroux's favorite documentary, or back in the day it was, and can't argue with that. He's the master of documentaries, so check it out. We're staying over the pond. We wanna be in the UK, England. We're staying over there because I got something to break down once again. I know I'm always coming to burst the bubble on things, but some bubbles got to be burst. All the way doesn't ruin some things, but it all the way does some other things. And I have to bring something to you. You guys been hearing on the internet as of recently a rap duo from the United Kingdom, and you're thinking, oh, is it the Skeptors? Is it the Stormzies? Is it the all those guys? No, it's a couple old dudes. It's Pete and Baz. Bloody Pete and Baz are coming through these days with pretty hot track that I think it's called Mr. Worldwide. It's like hasta luego. Shout out to my boys in Tobago. With the plain clothes, and it's got a bit of a rhythm, got a bit of a rap to it. And then it's these couple of old fellas and their mates, and they're partying, drinking a few Stellas, playing a bit of football, and these guys are having a rap, and you just want to get amongst it. It just seems like a fun time. But old Pete and Baz, I think we got ourselves a little bit of a Milli Vanilli situation going on. If you don't know, Milli Vanilli were a group in the 90s. There's these two like caramelly people, dude, with like dreadlock hair, like R&B kind of style. But and they won like some music award or some shit, but then they didn't actually sing the songs. It was like 4 people. It was like 2 guys and 2 girls actually sung, and the other people pretended to be the singers. We've got a Milli Vanilli situation, but it's Pete and Baz. That's what I'm trying to say. Pete and Baz are a kind of fabricated parody group kind of thing. But the thing is, that song fucking kind of slaps a little, so. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not sure if it's they are given the lyrics and then they rap them, or if it's someone's voice kind of modified and modulated to sound like an old man. Because like one guy sounds exactly how you'd think he'd look, but the other voice sounds like a younger voice, kind of pitched and changed maybe a little bit. It's very believable, but I just kind of looked at it and I was like, what's going on here? I've clicked through, I'll say, a few of their live performances, and they have done live things where they're singing the lyrics and stuff. But I'm pretty sure it's a fabrication. There was this one YouTube video that kind of dove into it a little bit, and it was like this corner store people thing. These people would come into this corner store, and this Instagram would kind of take pictures and kind of chronicle these people. And these people, Pete and Baz, kind of popped up in that. And then people that made that have kind of manufactured that into a rap group, good old Pete and Baz. There was also another one where it was an American version of Pete and Baz, but it didn't work as well, and they had very similar voices. It was like Terry and Jerry or something, but Pete and Baz just slaps way harder for some reason. Just that, yeah. They got that UK sound, and it's pretty hot. But good old Pete and Baz, like, I'm happy for them to keep pumping out songs and getting it going. But I'm not sure if people were fully aware. Who cares, really? But Pete and Baz, probably not singing the songs or something like that. But they are killing it. That song does rock. Whoever wrote it or whatever. And it's a funny little, they're old, but they're doing raps. But yeah, that's another one. And number 3 on the Dylan TOOLEBOXTALK podcast topics I found from the internet. The other episode, I was kind of I was going in on a few other things, and what I was saying, I was going kicking in the door, waving the 4-4, and that's a Biggie line. Ready? So now I got a kick in the door, waving the 4-4 on Biggie. On an aspect of Biggie that I found out, a conspiracy kind of going on around the origins of his name and one of his first giant big tracks. So, I found out about this one from the old Denny Brown podcast, Denny Brown Show. He's one of my faves. He's a good bloody rapper. And then he started doing podcasts, and that's when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have a crack at this. Because it just looked like fun. Looks like a bit of fun. But so what it is that Biggie Smalls, there was another Biggie Smalls or something like that, and he got copyrighted on his name, so he had to change his name to something else. And he and Puff Daddy changed his name to the Notorious B.I.G., which is a pretty good name. But there's this rapper from Memphis who put out a song in 1993. There's a bit of dispute about which song came out first or whatever, but he's a Memphis rapper, and his name is the NotoriousBig1. Which is pretty close to the Notorious B.I.G. And the song that this, you can find on YouTube, the song that this guy has is called Big Daddy by the NotoriousBig1, but it's Juicy by Biggie Smalls, by Notorious Big, the one that we know. It's the same sample. It has some similar kind of lyrical aspects. But it's the song Juicy Fruit by, I don't even know. I think it's by Juicy Fruit. It's by M-T-U-M-E, M-T-U-M-E, Matune. Or I think one of them would probably be silent, but I don't know how to say it. But they have that original little loop, and the chorus is like, very well. Is that the right song? Not that many. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, this NotoriousBig1 has a song, Big Daddy, that's the same sample, same kind of idea, that he's a kind of fat rapper guy, and it's kind of in his name, the NotoriousBig1. There's a few other things in Juicy by Biggie. It says, from Mississippi to the East Coast, and this guy's from Mississippi. But there's a few theories to how this kind of came about, or how maybe Biggie got the beat and kind of did his own thing with it, or maybe it could have been fully contrived with everyone colluding in the, or one answer to the kind of situation I've heard is that a lot of people would send in their mixtapes at this time, and people would you just steal it, because fuck, they have no power, and that's, I can just take that and give it to one of my artists, because these people have no power. They're just trying to get their music out there, and the bigger producers, or the music kind of, what do you call it? Business side kind of went and give it to this person. So maybe one of the producers, or Puff Daddy, or the management people, they got this cassette from NotoriousBig1, Big Daddy. But listen to it. Go listen to it, because it's just like, it's very familiar, and it seems like the NotoriousBig1. You're like, what? But it's maybe a little bit, his flow is like a bit more earlier sounding in his kind of delivery, but it's similar. It just feels similar. So maybe that a producer was sending this tape, and Biggie Smalls had to change his name to something, and the producer was like, "You're the Notorious B.I.G." Boom. Fuck this dude. And it's just different enough that it's like when you do an account somewhere, or like a username, and it's like, this username's taken. And then you just change, like, you just make it, you make one bit of 1. You go 1, 2, you go 42069. Something like that. That's what they did with the name. They just went NotoriousBig1, you're Biggie Smalls, what if we make you the Notorious B.I.G. Boom. But there's been other times, thought the mic fucking turned off. So there's been other times that this has happened, where two artists have released similar songs. Like, there was one time it was like Kelly Clarkson and Beyonce released the same song at the same time. What's that song called? Halo. And when I'm looking now, surrounded by you. Yeah, that one. And they both had the same song out at the same time. And that just happened just because it was like, for some of these artists, it's like they're just like a pop song factory kind of thing. Like, there's so many cooks, and it's just, this is guaranteed formula to make some money. So boom. So yeah. That's a few more things that I found on the internet. Another Toolbox Talk in the bag. Episode 5. Fuck yeah.